Hey, what's going on, AP World Peeps? We have video number 15 for you. This one is going to focus on imperial cities. Make sure you are familiar with them, characteristics of them, commonalities between them, and be able to identify them on a map as well. So we'll start off with, why were these cities significant? Well, they were often centers of trade. They had religious rituals here, and they were administration centers, usually of larger empires. And they often had defensive walls. Not all of them, but they often did have these walls to protect from outside invasion. Let's start off with Persepolis, which is the capital of the Achaemenid Empire. This was the first Persian empire from 550 to 330 BCE. This was built during Darius's reign. And if you look here, it is a map of the plan of Persepolis. And they had reception halls, a treasury department, and royal residences. And Xerxes, the King of Kings, his palace was located here as well. He was the ruler after Darius. And the city was looted by Alexander the Great's forces in 330 BCE. And that's why this Persian Empire is going to end in 330 BCE. Now let's jump over to Chang'an. This was a capital of more than 10 dynasties in China. Qin Shi Huangdi held his imperial court here. During the Han Dynasty, the city was the cultural and political center of China. It had a palace with markets and parks as well for its residents. And by 2 CE, there's roughly 250,000 people living there. This city was enormous. And the city was surrounded by a defensive wall. Pataliputra was located in India. It was the capital during the Mauryan and Gupta dynasties. And under Ashoka, if you remember him, he was the one that helped spread Buddhism. It was one of the largest cities in the world during his reign. Almost 400,000 people at its height. And they developed government policies for the entire empire from this city. If you look at this picture, here are some of the ruins of this city. And there's an elaborate treasury system that oversaw taxes throughout the empire. And if you look at this picture here, you could see some of the architecture is definitely influenced by Greek culture here. So this is an example of syncretism. Jumping over to the Greeks, in Athens in particular, this was one of the most significant city-states of ancient Greece. They had enormous political and intellectual contributions. Direct democracy, where all citizens could vote, took place here. And the Parthenon pictured here was a temple dedicated to the goddess Athena. And it also had protective city walls. Carthage, located near Egypt on the Mediterranean, was originally a Phoenician colony, and it was a significant city on the Mediterranean. It was destroyed by the Romans in the Punic Wars, and they absolutely destroyed it. They burned it down. They put salt in the fields so nothing could be grown there. But later on, it was rebuilt as Roman Carthage in the 3rd century CE. And this became one of the largest cities in the Roman Empire. It was a center for early Christianity, and it too was conquered by the Vandals, just like the city of Rome was in 439 CE. Speaking of Rome, here we have a picture of ancient Rome. And this, if you remember, from 509 BCE, Roman aristocrats overthrew their king and they established a republic. The city is located near the Tiber River and Tyrrhenian Sea. And it's also near the Mediterranean Sea, which allowed for trade and contact with other cultures. And that is probably the most important bullet on this slide there. Because of its location near the Mediterranean, it's going to have so much contact with other cultures. The Colosseum was built that could hold around 50,000 people, and people could attend to see dramas, contests, reenactments, you name it. It was a source of entertainment for the people of Rome. Now, Alexandria, can you guess who this one's named after? Yeah, Alexander the Great, you little genius, look at you. This was founded by Alexander the Great in 332 BCE, and it's an example of Hellenistic culture in Egypt. This is located in northern Egypt, right by the Mediterranean. It was a cultural and intellectual center where you had Jewish, Greek, and Syrian scholars gather. This was one of the most diverse cities of its time. The Alexandria Library had over 700,000 works located in it, but it did burn, and many of these works were destroyed. So there's a lot of unknowns about what really was in the Alexandria Library. Constantinople, here's an aerial view of it. If you take a look at it, you notice it's near water. So that's going to be important for, you got it again, trade. So this is founded by the Roman Emperor Constantine, and the government moved to Constantinople after 330 CE. Libraries, museums, palaces, churches, and baths were found in this city, and you had thousands of mansions and 14 palaces as well. The Hippodrome was a stadium where one could watch horse races, athletic games, circuses, you name it. And here is a drawing of Constantinople, and here's the Hippodrome right here. So you would see chariot races and all sorts of really cool stuff for entertainment back then. We'll finish with Teotihuacan, which we talked about in the last video. This was located in Mesoamerica, around 200,000 people between 400 and 600 CE. Priests were believed to play a significant role in this society. They would keep calendars and help determine when to plant crops, or help tell people when to plant their crops. Most residents, about 2/3 of which, worked in the fields outside the city, and there was extensive trade in other regions, with other regions of this area. And unlike other cities, this city did not have a defensive wall. Interesting, huh? All right, well, on with a quick recap. We have common characteristics among most of these cities include a location near water, trade, hugely important, trade. Defensive walls, not Teotihuacan though, and they were often administration centers for large empires. All right, guys, look forward to see you back here for video number 16, Patriarchy and Labor Systems in Societies. Thanks for watching. Best of luck this year. You will do great, and have a good day.